Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm super excited to see you and to have you here. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Yay. So good to see you. We are going to be getting started. So, welcome to the Science of Manifesting Success. Whether you are here live or catching the replay, I'm super excited to have you. My name is Melissa Moffett, and I would love if you all would go to the chat box and introduce yourself. Let me know who you are, if you're new to my classes, and why you're here. And I'm going to go over some logistics and some pieces. Today is going to be, there's a lot I have to cover with you all. I have about 26 slides. I don't always do slides when I do classes, but I have a lot of information. This class is highly information based, so I'm super excited to be sharing it with you all. Okay, logistics. So yeah, go to the chat box, introduce yourself, let me know who you are, why you're here, if you're new to my world. I think those of you who are here live, I'm not sure that I recognize all of you. Oh wait, here's someone coming. Nice. Yay, Alexandra, hi. Been following you for a while, but never taken a class. Well, I'm really happy here, and I'm happy to catch you live so I can see your face. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to be teaching this class, obviously. Hi, Matt, what's your last name? I was in Wealthy a year ago and haven't jumped on anything of yours for a while. Okay. I know you, of course. I haven't jumped on anything of yours in a while and this dropped in my inbox. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to hear this. You should come back to Wealthy. It's lifetime access, by the way. Sometimes I have to remind people of that, or like they maybe missed it at some point because it used to not be lifetime access. And then I made it lifetime access. So you can come back in if you're not currently in the container, just FYI, because I was like, this work is lifetime. Come on. This ain't a course. This is a lifetime commitment. Okay. I've been busy working and making money. Oh my gosh, I love that. I need to get back involved. It was a game changer. Yeah, we have two live monthly calls. They're so fun. Rachel's in. Rachel's in Wealthy. Yeah, they're so great. And we do masterminding. Like come and catch up. Come and catch up. We do a practice every month and we do masterminding. I would love to see you. Okay. Katie, I've done a few free classes with you and I've been following you for a while. Well, I'm really glad you all are here. Yay. Okay. So a few things happening. There is a giveaway going on. So there's a lot of big changes happening. I'm going to kind of talk about them a little bit with you all, but I have changed. I'm revamping my old account. So if you all are kind of new in my world, like within the last year and a half, I started a fresh account a year and a half ago, and I've decided to revamp my old account into specifically about money. So it's called Wealthy with Melissa. I'd love it if you go follow that account. It's going to be lots of money content. We're especially going to be breaking that out more and more in the next couple months because I'm going to be finishing my book, my money book, and just really focusing on money content and really focusing on my container Wealthy over there. So that's going to be a really great resource for you all. And we have some fun plans coming up. And I'm really excited to finish my book because I've been working on it for years. And in honor of that, we also changed the name of my podcast from Aaron Earth, which was the first name of the podcast, like almost 6 years ago now. I've never changed the name. It's just evolved with me, but I changed it to The Wealthy Show. So the giveaway, it's on my stories right now. I'm not going to go through everything. Go look at it on my stories. But I'm pulling someone at the end of this class. So if you want to enter, go enter now. There's a couple of different ways to enter, either by leaving a review on the show or by commenting on some posts or sharing on your stories. And you get different amounts of entries per each for the different kinds of like ways to enter. Yay! I'm so glad you're here. I know. I'm so excited to publish the book. Oh, it's got me in my feels for sure. I can't believe it. We're really excited. We're working hard. So Yeah, go enter the giveaway if you want to, because 3 people are going to win $1,000 worth of Melissa money. Melissa money is basically like a gift card. I'm like, here you go. Here's $1,000. What master classes do you want? What course do you want? You can either use it as a credit or use it to cover like the full price of something. It doesn't count toward masterminds and one-on-one coaching, but anything like master classes and courses, it counts towards that. So we're going to pull Melissa money. I love it. We love iteration over here. Melissa Moffat, Melissa money, you know how it goes. So go enter the giveaway. Okay. I'm going to be talking about offers at the end, but I'm just plugging them here so you all know that that's coming up, because there are some time sensitive either pricing or early bird bonuses. Like Scale is on early bird for $55 right now. It's a Telegram group that I'm going to be running in March. And the price for that goes up tomorrow night. Become Success Wealthy and Become Success bundle and the Expand Mastermind have early bird bonuses that expire Saturday night. So I'll go over that later. It'll also be in an email, but if you're here live and you have to drop out at some point, know that that's coming and that will be in your email, and you can tune back into the replay where I go over more of the details. Okay, so why am I teaching this class? Let me tell you a little story. So I have been running my business now for, in August, it will be 6 years. So like 5.5 years. And I'm at a point where I've created a lot of sustainability for years now. Like basically, I'd already grown an Instagram following, and that really supported me before I started my business. So by year 2 of my business, I was having a multiple 6-figure year. The second year of my business, I was making a multiple 6-figure year, and I was sustaining that, making like, 400K a year. It was awesome. And last year, I took a really big break. I've taken some breaks throughout my business, like sabbaticals, maybe like a month here or there. But I took most of last year, not entirely off. Like I was keeping up with things I canceled a lot of things actually, but I kept up with the clients I already had. I wasn't onboarding clients. I was probably at about a quarter of the client load I normally have. I wasn't posting very much. I have a lot of generator energy. Like I have a lot of energy to put into my business. I love creating. I love holding offers. I also do that in a way that's really spacious for me, because I'm also someone who's like recovered from burnout during the time I've been running my business and all that kind of stuff. But last year I needed the break. I was going through some really, really challenging things that I haven't shared about publicly. I've shared about a little bit behind the scenes. I'm feeling like I'll write about it in my book, but yeah, some things where I just literally did not have the capacity to run my business. It was so intense and challenging, and it was perfect and exactly what I needed. And I learned a lot and I grew a lot. But I started kind of fresh this year where I had all the experience. Of course, I've built, like relationships with customers, but I had, tens of thousands of dollars in recurring revenue every single month for years. And I was kind of like starting fresh. I let my recurring revenue finish. I wasn't like launching new containers. I wasn't intentionally designing my business. I kind of didn't know what I wanted for a long time. And I came back in really in December feeling this clarity around, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to create. And I had to come back to these foundational pieces of how to embody success, how to show up as like someone who knows how to cultivate success, and then how do I scale? Like what are my goals and intentions for how I want my business to be now, and how do I reverse engineer that and then build that out? And it very much felt like how I was, my practices and things when I was starting my business. And I'm someone who's a little nerdy. I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but I was like a research scientist for years. I love learning. I love just education in general. That's probably why I'm an educator because I also just love education. And I started, getting back into my practices. I've been on my healing path for 16 years. I've had a meditation practice for 13 years, daily meditation. I've been doing tapping and somatic work for like 9 years. And I really just devoted those practices again to my business. And I also started learning about neuroscience in the brain and how all of these practices that I saw and felt had so much impact on me, how they have these like really proven science backed like studies. And it just gave me so much faith because I was in this process of rebuilding. And I was like, cool, I really have this deep trust that if I do these practices, if I lean into my inner work, just like when I was starting my business, I can rebuild it. And I've seen the fruits of that. I've been having clients come in, I've been having like amazing ideas, and, you know, I'm like building and picking back up momentum. And it really comes down to like me doing these practices. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm going to lay this out. I'm going to, give people something that they can rest into. Like when you know this will work for you, when you're like, this is so proven and this makes so much sense, you're way more likely to, and this is, I think I share this here. Yeah, when you know that something's going to work for you and support you, and you understand why it works, and you have that relationship with it, you're going to lean into it. You're going to rest into it. And you're going to feel this relief of like, I have the support system within myself, and I have these practices that are going to take me where I want to go and devote to it. And you'll see the fruits of that inner work start to pay off. And we're going to talk about time frames and the different practices and how this all works. And I'm super excited to break it down for you. Okay, so I have two pieces of context that I want to lay out for you all. The first is that as a business coach, I feel it is my responsibility. I treat my business this way. I treat my clients this way. I've seen too many people be successful, but on the inside, hate their lives, be struggling with themselves, be burning out, feel like they're having to sacrifice their lives, sacrifice their values to do whatever it takes. I'm not here for hustle. I work with a lot of intention. My work has a lot of potency. I have a very high standard of work ethic, but I hold a standard in my business for not sacrificing my values, not having to work all the time. I like spaciousness. I like taking care of myself. I am very like well-being centric. I like having time with my family, with my friends, with nature, by myself. I like slow mornings. I like restful evenings. And so I would love if you all journal on these, come back and journal on these. Let this be your North Star. Okay. And you're going to get these slides in the replay as well. But like, design your business to support the kind of life that you actually want to live. That's true success. And I have seen from experience, and I have seen with my clients, that you get to make a lot of money and have love and have free time and have time with your family and be in alignment with your values and have the desired lifestyle that you want to have. So when I'm talking about creating success, this isn't just like pushing ahead, burning out, all of these kind of things I already talked about. This is really about creating success that is true and nourishing and sustainable and so fulfilling and so like from your heart, creative, that you love doing, that lights you up, that gives you energy, that's regenerative. And that's what I want to see for my clients. The second piece of context that I want to lay out for you all is, and please feel free, I normally say this, but I'm very interactive. So if you have anything you want to add at any point, if you have any questions, I'm going to take questions at the end as well. But my style of teaching is very, for those of you who've been in my containers, it's very relaxed. It's very like community oriented. So feel free to leave things in the chat box, um, any reflections, anything you want to add. I really like to have conversational kind of teaching. Okay. So the other piece of context I want to lay out for you all is I know from experience, science can only go so far. So I am going to be talking about things that have been researched, practices that have been researched, but I am a big believer in the unknown. I'm a big believer in we don't know everything, and we're only so limited by our scientific tools and methods. And there's also a lot of bias that goes into science based on cultural influences, political influences, what's taboo, what's not, what's willing to be funded and not. I'm thinking of there's a documentary on Netflix called, it's like The Science of Pleasure, I think is what it's called. And it's all about female anatomy and female pleasure, and I think male as well, but it's mainly focused on female, non-binary. There's a lot of voices of women of color, and there has been more and more research into how sexual pleasure can help with things like depression and PTSD and all these kind of things. And there was a neuroscientist, like PhD neuroscientist researcher, who took a proposal to a really high up university, like an Ivy League university, and was like, I would like to study how, I forget what it is, but it's like something having to do with a female orgasm. And it was an older white gentleman turned her down because he felt uncomfortable, and he said something about his daughters, right? So like there's a lot of personal bias, there's a lot of tabooness that can go into these kind of things. So I am a big believer in practices that are not proven, like, you know, I believe in our psychic abilities. I believe in earth magic and all of these kind of things. So, and I did research for years. I have a published paper in a chemical engineering journal, and that published paper, the whole point of it, I was a co-author. Um, the whole point of it was disproving something, a peer reviewed piece of research from, I think maybe like a year earlier or something like that. So science is always contradicting each other and changing ideas, and things that used to seem magic, like people used to be kind of scared of electricity and think it was magic, right? And it's like, we just didn't understand it. So use your magic, use your tools. This isn't like, I just don't want to put like a full emphasis on like science, because it's not, because I've been there. I'm reflecting on my business isn't giving me energy at the moment, and so I'm not sure how to navigate that. I might send you a voice note later. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Rachel's in a one container with me. Yeah, let's talk about it. I can give you some questions. Okay, so what is to manifest? I'm a big believer in also just like simplifying things and making things really straightforward. And like I love just making things as broken down and easy as possible in my life and business, and straightforward. And so when I say to manifest, it's literally just like bringing it into reality, like bringing it forward. So these practices are about really seeing your power in how you're perceiving your current reality and steering your reality. As simple as that. Seeing that you have so much power when it comes to influencing how things work, how life responds to you, how people respond to you. And this comes from someone, I used to feel extremely disempowered. I told you all I started my healing journey 16 years ago out of necessity. Like I was in a low, low place. I did not like myself. I did not like my life. And it was very scary for me being in that place because I didn't want to live. Right. So going from that to being someone who is so happy, right? I consider myself a very happy person. That doesn't mean I don't have challenges. That doesn't mean I don't struggle, but I'm resilient and I'm super compassionate with myself. I love myself. I treat myself well. I feel very empowered. I feel very confident in myself. And that's something that I practice every day. Okay. So I would love for you all to take these practices, and this is the core foundation of the work that I do in my containers. So, right, like I've talked about Become Success coming up. This is like the core of Become Success. This is also a big piece of what we do in Wealthy. However, in Wealthy, we also do a lot of tangible money work as well. And it's focused on money, where Become Success is focused on success as a whole. But this is a core piece of what I do with my clients, is helping them feel that power that they have, and that they're so good at what they do and they're so deserving of success, and being able to open to receive it, and being someone who can steer and influence and direct their energy in a way that as a byproduct creates the results that they're desiring, or even better results, right? We're not trying to like, I'll talk about this in a minute, but we're not trying to like get so fixated on certain outcomes, but just being someone who is an embodiment of success. And so no matter what you're doing, no matter where you're going in life, like you're taken care of, you can maintain overflow, you can maintain healthy, joyful relationships. And and like when you radiate that, when you are that, that's what life is going to give back to you. Okay. And I feel like I honestly feel like we all have an innate capacity for this. I'm not saying we all should have million or multi-million or billion-dollar businesses. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is we all have a blueprint for our aligned version of success, and we just have to learn how to access it and then be that and live that out in the world and show up for it and let those results come back to us. And that's what I love helping my clients do. Okay, so we're going to talk about the brain a little bit. And my intention for this is I want you all to just see that this is so doable. That this is like actually how like your body wants you to be successful. There are tools that you can literally work with in your body that can help you be successful. On the other hand, they can also help you sabotage. They can also help you play small. They can also help you think negatively and get caught in spirals like that. But if we understand how these processes work, how these parts of our brain work, how these parts of our body work, then we can train it. And that's what I've been doing for years and years and years, almost 2 decades now, is training my body, training my brain to love myself, to love my life, to be someone who can be successful in the world. So the first thing I want to talk about is your default mode network. Okay. So this is a network in your brain, and I'm not going to get into like super specifics. I'm not a neuroscientist. That's one thing I wanted to say too. I'm not like a master's level neuroscientist or anything like that, but I do have like a basic understanding. Okay. So this is a network in your brain that is activated when you're reflecting on who you are, when you're reflecting on your life, your memories, your stories, when you're also reflecting on how you're interacting with others and how you interact with the world. Okay. So I got really excited when I heard that this is called the default mode network, because I've always, in my business and in my teachings, I've referred a lot. And if you've been in my containers, you've heard this. We talk about this in Wealthy a lot. We'll talk about this in Become Success a lot, but shifting your default. So, how you wake up in the morning, what you naturally, like if you're just having random ass thoughts about yourself and about your life, what are the thoughts that come up? Are they positive? Are they negative? And the work I do with people, right? The long term work, we do this in Wealthy, we'll do this in Become Success, is about shifting that default into one that has a more empowered, courageous, positive outlook. This isn't just flipping a switch. This isn't just like repeating thoughts. There's a lot more that goes into it until like those are the thoughts you think. Um, it it takes time. And this is why like wealthy is a lifetime access container, for example, because it takes time, right? And it takes consistency and repetition and getting creative. Okay. So you can train your default mode network to refer to yourself, to refer to your memories, to be able to plan and and come up with creative solutions and mind wander in a way that is going to support a positive direction in your life. Like I mentioned, the opposite can also be true. It can also think poorly about yourself. And that can happen when that network is overly activated. So I'm sure we've all had experiences. I've had these experiences where I'm sitting there thinking, right? Like having an experience of anxiety where you're thinking about yourself. Or I remember when I was really young and I was really struggling with anxiety, I used to lay in bed at night and it was hard for me to sleep and I had insomnia because I was thinking about my experience that day. And I was thinking about things I said and like frustrated with myself and things I could have done better. And, you know, so that's an overactive default mode network. And little did I know, but one of the ways that you can create balance, we want to create balance in it, is by like something like a meditation practice where you're giving your brain a pause to stop like thinking so much about you being so self-centered and self-fixated, not self-centered in a way that's like, I mean, it is. It's kind of like just being selfish, like thinking about yourself and having this like kind of like, that feeling. It's like this is the feeling. It's like where you're just so fixated on your own outcomes in your own life and all these kind of things. But when you give yourself space to be in nature, to meditate, to do something that gets you out of the mind into the body where you're social, um, it can slow down that thinking and start to shift your perspective and bring balance, right? And like I mentioned earlier, with some of these practices I'm going to be talking about, you can train that default mode effort into a more positive perception of yourself and your reality and your experiences with others. Okay. That interacts with your reticular activating system or RAS. Okay. This is a network of neurons in your brain that, okay, when you think about it, there's a ton happening in the world right now. Okay. There's like people walking by outside. There's my dog over here. Like I can hear things going on in other parts of the house. Like there's lots of things going on, right? But my brain has an ability to filter and be like, we're on this call. I'm thinking about this right now. Okay. That part of your brain can be trained to be filtering information and seeing information that is going to help you, one, feel successful, and two, see more opportunities and have more ideas that are going to continue perpetuating that success. Okay. So, you know how people will tell you to focus on what's working? This is why. This is why that works. It's not about being bypassy. It's literally training your brain to believe and see the ways that things are working out for you. And then you'll continue, your brain will be like, okay, we're someone who's creating success. This is what we're doing. We have these intentions, we have these goals. This is what we're doing. And it will unconsciously be looking for the opportunities, the ideas, the solutions, the conversations that are going to continue to set you up for more success. I remember one of my examples of this is I remember having a breakup. This was like 7 years ago or something. Has anyone ever had an experience like this where it's like I had a breakup and I saw this dude's car everywhere and I was like, why am I noticing his car everywhere I go? Not his specific car, but like a model and make and color of his car. And I was like, why? And now I know this is why, right? Because it's like when we're fixated on something, thinking about something, So in this case, training your brain to be aligning with where you want to go and what you want to create, and feeling like a successful person and feeling gratitude and feeling so thankful for every little drop of success that comes into your life, it's going to show you that. It's going to help you find that. It's going to help you see that. Okay. And another manifestation-y term that I thought went really well with this is energy goes where attention flows. You all have heard this, right? Energy goes where attention flows. This is why. This is why. If you focus on something, if you train your brain to see something, like, the energy is going to show up for it, the opportunities, the ideas. Your brain literally wants to see you succeed. It's going to help you. Energy goes where intention flows. Okay. I love it. I got so excited. I was like, oh. Okay. The practices we're going to be talking about today also relate to your nervous system. Again, you're processing a ton of information. Okay. And a lot of people a lot of women, a lot of people in cultures that are disconnected from other people, disconnected from the earth, um, cultures that have been influenced by colonialism, there's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of trauma. I'm just going to say it. There's a lot of trauma. And so these practices over time can help you with releasing and creating more resiliency and flexibility to move between different states in your nervous system versus getting stuck and feeling like you're currently in a traumatic experience. Okay, whether that be trauma that was passed down ancestrally, something from your childhood or from a few years ago, or even from, like I had to process trauma that happened within the past year. And I'm so thankful that I had these tools and had already created a lot of spaciousness and flexibility within my system to move from different states instead of getting stuck in certain states. So having a healthy nervous system, a regulated nervous system, perhaps a healed nervous system, if you're someone who's experienced ancestral trauma or like your own personal experience trauma, will help you to be able to process information, to process stress. I talk about ease a lot in business and holding a standard of ease. And what I mean by that is not never having challenge or never having a problem come up, but it means having the capacity in your body, in your brain, in your beliefs, in how you see yourself, to be able to navigate challenge in a way that is going to support you. And we're going to talk about that more. What time is it? I get to talking. Okay. We got a lot to cover, y'all. I'm on page 9 of 27. We got a lot to cover. Okay. So ease is about being someone and having the training in your body, in your system, to be able to hold that state of ease even amongst challenge. Okay. All right. There's also a lot of other, so these are just some examples. There's a lot of other systems that go into it. Your brain and your body is an amazing organism, right? Like, so I'll give one example here. You can come back and read this more later. You can do your own research into these if you want. One thing I learned in the last year is how much my hormones, right, the endocrine system, how much my hormones were impacting me. And maybe some of you have experienced this. This is a big one for women. Our menstrual hormones, our sex hormones, our cortisol levels, all of these kind of things. I did a huge process of working with my hormones. And on the other side of it, I felt incredibly different. And it opened up so much capacity for me to be able to manage my mood, to be able to have more energy levels, to have, more even emotions, all these kind of things, which influenced so much, right? It influenced my relationships. It influenced how I physically felt. It influenced my skin. It influenced my menstrual cycle, like how I feel around my period. It influenced how I show up in my business. It influenced everything. And so there's so much that goes into this. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to get into polyvagal theory. Yeah. Now I'm going to get into talking about some of the different practices. Okay. So I know a lot of you all are deeply practiced. I love that. I love that. Some of you all may be new to practices. Maybe you're getting started with meditation, you're getting started with somatic practice, or you're getting started on your healing journey, or whatever it is. Welcome. This is great. I'm glad you're here. Some of you all, you may have been around for a while and doing this work. And so let this serve as a reminder for you. Um, and yeah, I get really excited because I have a lot of clients who come in who are just like really, really well practiced. Okay, so the main focus is going to be like, I'm not going to be talking about like balancing your hormones or anything like that, but I'm going to be talking about cognitive training and stress management, which I already talked about ease and capacity, but we're going to talk more about that. Okay, having clear intentions is so powerful. And this is something that there's a lot of nuance here. Okay, I think we go through periods where we don't know what we want. And I think that is healthy. Or we can't clearly see what we want. I call these decomposition periods, um, where perhaps things are falling apart in some sense, or we have to let go of things or redirecting. And that just means we've evolved. And we can take those periods, those void periods, to mean something bad about us, or we can let them run its course and come out on the other side with more clarity and more sense of purpose and more sense of who we are, at our nature, and how we want to show up in service and in love now. Okay. I have seen very, very often people having intentions and goals that they have clung to the point that it suffocated them, and to the point that they were reaching those goals, but it never felt like enough because they were so fixated on the goals. So this is more about being creative and holding them loosely and having ideas and intentions of what you want to create. But if you notice that you're starting to cling to them and feel unworthy because they're perhaps not coming true, or maybe it's like, oh, I'm being directed, there's something even better. So letting them fluctuate, letting them change, but just like letting yourself dream big, basically. Like daydream, have a vision, have an idea of what you want to step into. And this gives you and gives your brain something to work off of that says, okay, this is the direction that we're going. And as you have those little wins, you're going to have little moments of joy, aka dopamine, that's going to release and help you stay motivated and on that track. Okay, so my invitation is, if it's been a while since you've let yourself dream big or have a vision or feel excited about something, or be like, this is something I want to, like igniting that masculine side of yourself that that is here to get shit done and put something out into the world, then go write down some things that you want to create and feel that energy of like, ooh, that excitement and that curiosity and that motivation, and like ignite that fire. Okay, so that's number one. All right, this is one of my favorites. Working with the body, opening up the body to be able to receive, to be able to process, to be able to let go, to be able to feel, to be able to be with the sensation of pain, of discomfort, of grief, of being able to be with the sensation of pleasure, of joy, of the vibrancy of life, right? One thing that I have found is that, Sarah, I love this question. I'll come back to it in just a second. One thing that I have found is that the more I talk about this in Rest and Receive, so this is a free class, it's on my free class playlist. There's actually two versions of it. I really get into it a lot on the first version of it. Success for me has been less about, like, I think that there is this concept that success and happiness, that holistic success, right? So I'm talking about happy, joyful, overflowing relationships, money, success, all of it is about, if you're like on the spectrum and here's like the happy stuff and here's like the challenging stuff. It's about like moving up. You want to take yourself here and move it up, move it up. But from my experience, it's actually more of an opening to all of life, opening up to like the money and the clients and the love and the amazing experiences, but also being able to open to uncertainty and loss. And if you love so deeply, then there's going to be like grief sometimes, or disappointment, or, people putting projections onto you or saying really mean things, because that happens on the internet, right? So somatic practice gives us the ability to be able to have this openness to all of it, and to be able to be with the full experience of life and full experience of success and full experience of who we are, the full experience of our expression, without it feeling wrong or scary or like locked up to the point that it explodes, or where like we don't know how to receive and all these kind of things. And this is a practice, right? So there's a lot of different practices you can do. Two of my absolute favorites are tapping. If you've been in my containers, you know I love tapping. So it's so simple. That's one of the reasons I love it. It's kind of a mixture of um, working with your emotions, working with your beliefs, and working with the energy meridians in your body, working with the sensations in your body. I have another free class called Tapping for Holistic Success, where you can go and experience tapping and dive into that practice in my free class playlist. If you have trouble finding that playlist, either send me an email or a DM. But I have a lot of free practices. And then somatic anchoring. This is something that I do regularly, where I really let myself feel my power, like sensationally. And this can take time. Okay. This can take a lot of time for some people, depending on how your body is currently experiencing reality. But actually feeling those sensations of my power and of my service and of my worthiness and of joy and of feeling those sensations in my body and giving my body the space to be able to access them. So doing it in a dedicated practice, so that when it does come through, I can actually experience it, right? And then there's practices of like I incorporate this into my work as well, like somatically. And I like to weave in work with Mother Earth for this kind of thing, like bring her in, bring ancestors in to help move things through the body, to be able to release, right? Release anything that's holding us back, release anything that, the places where we feel this contraction, to come into more of that, again, openness of all of life and all of success. Sarah, you asked, where would you start with that? I have felt disconnected from my dreams, desire for a while now, just been happy in the present moment, also feeling a disconnect to having something I'm moving towards other than how I desire to feel. That's always where my intention is, in how I desire to feel versus what I want. I think that's really great. Like, I think that's most important, honestly. I think that's most important. But if like it feels like, for me, what's really helped is having a balance of like the spiritual realm, so the unseen, the emotions, the way I want to feel, and having a balance of the world. So what am I actually creating in the physical realm? What are the tangible steps? And those two things, when they coupled together, that's what like if you focus too much on one, then your worldly life kind of suffers. Maybe you don't like have enough money all the time, or know the tangible steps to do things, all that kind of stuff. And if we focus too much on the worldly without like the internal, the spiritual, then people just get fixated on like belongings and these external measures of success and all of this kind of stuff. So it's coupling those two together. So first of all, I would say, look at that. Is there an aversion to a worldly focus? Like saying, I'm going to have and like, this is like the yang energy, the masculine energy. Do I have an aversion to setting goals, to setting clear intentions, to having, steps for myself, to holding responsibility, to showing up for myself on the physical plane? And why is that? Right. And then I honestly, when I feel confusion about what I want to do and what I want to create, I pray. I get on a mountain or something and I say a prayer and I'm like, show me the next steps, show me what's going to be of service to me, show me what's going to be of service to the world. And when I do it from that energy, instead of just like, what do I want? Um, I'm less of a like, what do I want? Like, I think of desire in a different way. It's not like, what do I want? It's more like, show me what's going to bring me the most happiness and joy and fulfillment and help people the most. And part of that is like stepping in and being like, okay, I'm going to claim this. I'm going to like claim this as my desire and move toward it and do the work to show up for it. But yeah, letting yourself open up to having that desire, to having clear intentions and things that you want to create. So that's what I would say about that. Okay, here's another one that has a lot of nuance as well. Practicing optimism. This we talked about a bit when it came to both the default mode network and the reticular activating system. This is something that I've had to do for years, right? And it's such a simple practice, but it really works. We're not trying to bypass any sort of uncomfortable feelings. We don't want to do that, actually, right? Like, we really want to work with those things and presence those things and process those things in a healthy way. But training yourself to see the joy and the beauty and the good and um, yeah, the little wins and the little bits of gratitude and everything. I've been doing a lot of mirror work recently, okay, because I realized I was feeling resistance toward myself. And I was feeling like the first time I was like, okay, I need to do some mirror work because I have enough experience to know when I'm like not liking myself for some reason or that's starting to come up. And the first time I sat down in front of the mirror, I like started crying and was like, dang, I've been really I'm kind of mad at myself and feeling like I don't deserve good things for these reasons. And so it's not about bypassing, right? But it's like offering yourself compassion and love and practicing seeing your innate beauty and the good in you and feeling like you're deserving of a good life. Yeah, being just kind to yourself. It's so simple, but it's so helpful, right? We can be so hard on ourselves. And especially like as ambitious, you know, big dreamer, deep feeling, there's a lot of women here. I also know I have like mid and non-binary people in my containers, but I think all of us kind of get into this at some point where it's like we're hard on ourselves. So just practicing being really kind and gentle and loving. And also practicing, this is so easy to do. So many of us are online. We're seeing other people doing similar things to us or people we look up to. And really honoring how far you've come and how good you are at what you do. This is a reflection I got I've gotten this is one of the reflections I get a lot from. I was thinking about like one of my mentors said this to me, and then I was like, well, actually, another friend who is also like a big cis energy said this to me recently, and then another one said this recently, or in like the last year or so. But it's really been my practice, like honoring, holding, and speaking about how good I am at what I do and the amazing results that I've been able to achieve and create in my life and help my clients get, and creating content from that place, speaking from that place. And it took me a while to really integrate that because at first I felt so much resistance to it. And I had to really sit with it and come to a place where I was like, whoa, you've done really well. And and so instead of forcing myself to say those things, thematically anchoring it into my brain and my body, and then being able to naturally show up as like, oh yeah, and not for, again, it's not like we try to force it, it's just like integrate that. Remember how good you are at what you do, what you've created. Like honestly, look at yourself objectively right now. Take a step out. Is that the right word? I never know objective or subjective. I should just not use that because I literally say this every single time. I say objective or subjective. I just shouldn't use those words. Um, Take a step outside of yourself, look in at yourself like you're a different person, and think about how much you've done and what you've created and how freaking good you are at what you do with the experience you have. Okay. It'll change your life. Okay. I think a lot of you already have this. Seeing everything as one of my favorite things, and I think I talk about it in the next, no, I talk about it. I talk about it here as well. These two kind of go together. One of my very, very favorite things to do is to see everything as an opportunity for growth. I think part of this is if you're familiar with human design, my profile is a 1-3. Um, that means that I I make a lot of mistakes and I learn from them, which is great. It's hard sometimes, but it's great. Sarah, are you? Yeah, I feel like you are. Maybe I just made that up. Maybe I just made that up. But oh, my doggy is here. He says hello. 3-5. Okay. Well, maybe I'm thinking of someone else. So, like, failure is here for us. I would really love it if we just learn, and it doesn't even have to be called failure. Like, I like the term initiations, but I'm honestly just not scared of flopping. I'm not scared of like things not going as I planned. I'm not scared of like, I'm just not scared because I've learned so much from things not working out the way I wanted them to, and learning about myself, learning about how I need to grow, learning about what I actually truly want and what is actually my path. Lay down, buddy. I'm teaching a class right. Remember, we just went out, but we're not going to do it right now. Lay down, lay down, buddy. Lay down. You can go. Lay down. Good, Bubby. Okay. He's so cute. He put his little head on my lap, you all. Okay. Okay, good, Bubby. Um, yeah, approaching everything from the place of this is here to serve me. This is here for me. This is happening for me. Where you're just constantly developing, and it's really being in devotion to the journey over reaching some milestone that you think is going to solve all your problems and expecting something to save you, but being devoted to growth and being devoted to evolving and becoming like your crone self. We're getting wise, we're growing up. Here we go. One of the things I've been saying to myself recently, as have been so super hard on myself the last few months in particular, is that I'm still learning. This is something in particular I talk a lot about in Wealthy, because when we're learning like something that's fun, it's not always the case. I really would encourage you all as entrepreneurs. Something I've done recently that's helped me so much is try new things. I've been doing a lot of new dance classes. I've been putting myself in positions where I have to like I'm doing a songwriting challenge where I have to write a new song every week and turn it in. Um, I've been like performing. I rejoined a choir, which I haven't been in a choir in like 6 or 7 years. But things that feel new where you have to be an outside of your business, right? But just helping you get into this place, and this is working with like the neuroplasticity in your brain too, where you're devoted to someone who's willing to try new things and kind of suck at it at first and have to learn and grow. And we talk about this in Wealthy because when it's something like if I'm learning speak a language or I'm learning to, a new piece in choir or something like that. If I mess up a note, maybe I might feel or mess up a word. Sometimes people can feel the sting of like some embarrassment, and we want to work with that and learn to alchemize that, right? And be committed to that growth mindset. But it's not like it doesn't have the charge that money has. Money holds so much charge because it's tied to so much. Our relationships, our survival, our self actualization, it's tied to so much that when we make money mistakes, we can feel like we're going to die. We can be like, I don't deserve this. Yeah, I knew I wasn't good at this. It can just hold a lot of charge. And so, working with your relationship with money in a way that you're willing to make mistakes, you're okay if you take risks and you don't get the reward. You're okay if you buy something and then realize, oh, I don't actually want this, or I'm not actually going to use this without like beating yourself up, or investing in something that maybe you wouldn't have. Like that has helped me so much to be able to keep going and to be someone who can continue receiving success as being someone who can make mistakes. Okay. All right. I actually wrote this down. I had a client come in my mastermind, one of my masterminds, um, this morning. I had a mastermind call. And she was feeling she just onboarded a lot of new clients. She had her biggest financial week ever. She basically made in a week what she had made in a month previously. And she was like, I feel at max. I feel at max. And I was like, great. Let's have a practice. Let's explore. Let's get into it. This is something I have to do all the time. Whenever I'm receiving, whenever I'm having a launch going really well, whenever I'm feeling like I have a lot of moving pieces going on, I really have to check in with my capacity and either open up space in my body or rearrange things, either rearrange my beliefs about how it gets to work for me and letting it be easier and letting what I do be more potent instead of just being like, I need to spin my wheels more. Or one thing I asked her, I was like, where is your body saying you can't hold more? And for her, it was like, she recovered from burnout. She's like, I'm afraid I'm going to burn out. I can't be looking at screens more. I forget what else she said. Oh, I'll talk about it on a different slide. I have more information on a different slide, but those are some of the things, right? And so for you, it might be checking and being like, where do I feel like I can't hold more? Well, how can you address that? How can you address that? Can you change up how you're offering things? Can you do phone calls instead of video calls? Can you, you know, for instance, one thing I do is when I do courses, I do part pre-recorded and part live. I use things I already have. Um, and this goes into scaling too. We're going to talk about this in scale when it comes to the tangible pieces, but actually like you're creating space in your body, but you don't want to just like push through. You can tangibly move things around in your business so that you have more space and it's scalable. Okay, so checking in with those things. We already talked about that. I mean, this is a basic one, but it's so freaking important. I've had a daily meditation practice for 13 years. It has deeply, deeply, deeply served me. It is so powerful. Just simply sitting observing thoughts, letting your thoughts soften, sometimes just being with the discomfort, like training yourself to be someone who can be present. And I've had incredible experiences through meditation practice, incredible downloads, incredible like experiences that are like mystical in nature, where it's like hard to even explain, that have like changed my being, like completely changed how I show up in the world. It's opening up space and opening yourself up to more expanded levels of awareness and consciousness and perceptions. It puts things into perspective. It helps you have more creative ideas and solutions. Um, it's relaxing. It's incredible, right? So having that mindfulness and meditation practice as an entrepreneur and as someone who's moving towards success, it's so important. So important. Oh yeah. Yeah. Any suggestions for people who feel like they can't meditate because of ADHD or something? My business partner struggles with this and I want to support her. Absolutely. So my invitation, I think like make it work for you. Meditation doesn't just have to be like sitting and doing nothing. Um, I think we can eventually train her. Like, I have a friend who has ADHD and also has a traumatic brain injury. And a lot of those symptoms are overlapping, right? So for her, when we're doing a meditation practice, one thing that's really hard for her and was for a while is being still. And so it's like, don't be still. If that is too much for you, we're not trying to punish ourselves. We're not trying to force ourselves to do something. Then move around, walk around, keep your eyes open if you need to, like make it accessible to you. Um, do it for as long or as little as you want, like make it work for you. And then over time, like one thing I've seen with her is that it's gotten easier and easier over time as she's kept that practice up to have more longer periods of stillness and quiet and things like that. But especially closer to her brain injury, that was really hard for her, is like being in quiet and being in stillness. Yes, we all get to define what stillness looks like and feels like for ourselves. That's one thing. I used to teach meditation. That was how I started my business. And I just really want to encourage people. That was like one of my biggest things, is like, do it in a way that works for you. We have so many, and this is so true for business too. We have so many ideas about how we think it needs to be or what it should look like, or how like it I have to do this to get results, and it's not true. It's not true. You get to design your business, you get to design your practice, you get to design your life, your relationships, whatever, in a way that is deeply going to serve your specific body, your specific values. I love how Richard Rudd speaks to stillness as an internal state of being rather than a physical state of stillness. Yeah. Although I love that too. I think there's so much power in the ability to move in stillness. Exactly. Yes. Yes. I'm sure we have a lot of people who love movement, yoga, asana, dance, all that kind of stuff, hiking. It's completely true. Yeah. Okay. Cognitive behavioral techniques and shadow work. Oh my gosh. My first taste of cognitive behavioral technique was CBT, was when I was 15. And I told you all, I was like, y'all, I was at a breaking point. Thankfully, I had, my dad was a psychiatrist. So as soon as they found out that I was having suicidal ideation, which I told my brother, he told my parents, they got me into therapy, and I'm so thankful. And my doggy right here. And I remember, it's so cute now, like that version of me, I just want to like hug her. But I just remember my therapist being like, did you know that your thoughts aren't necessarily true? Like, and I was just like, what? Excuse me, paradigm shift. I was like, what is happening? Because I thought that because I was thinking this, it was just how it was. Um, so simple but so true. And I still do these practices to this day, right? So some of you all came to Shadow Work Queen. It's still available. But it's also, it comes with becoming success. So if you decided you wanted to join Become Success, Shadow Work Queen is a part of that. It's like a pre-work for it. But like, it's just simply, we're so silly. We're so silly. Our brains get so caught up thinking that certain things are true, or like consciously or unconsciously, right? All the time, I realize I'm like, something's happening. What am I feeling? What's going on? And I'll realize under the surface, I'm like thinking something about myself or reality, and I'm like, oh, that is super negative or not true, or a reflection of something I heard someone say that does not apply to me. And so it's just continuing to break down these things and literally be like, what do I actually want to believe? What is actually true? And that can help you so much with taking action, showing up. Like shadow work is one of my biggest practices for just continuing to be someone who can show up and like put myself out there and sell my shit and teach my classes and all that kind of stuff. Because otherwise, y'all, it's scary out here. It's scary being on the internet, people looking at you. I'm gonna have a book that's about money sitting around on shelves in Colorado. God, that's scary, but I'm gonna do it, you know? So that's fine. That's fine. Thanks, shadow work. Okay. We're getting through it. We got a few more. All right, we got a few more slides. All right. This is a big one too. I hear it all the time. This has come up for me that I wanted to devote a whole slide to it. One of the biggest reasons people feel like they can't have success is because they feel like they can't handle it, or they feel like they won't be able to sustain it, or they're not responsible enough for it. And here's what I have to say about that. I am not going to sugarcoat it for you. Right now, you might not be responsible enough for it. But guess what? You can train yourself to be. You can educate yourself to be. Okay. If I had received the amount of sales like that I've had in my business when I first started, I would have not known how to handle it. I literally didn't have the education capacity, or just like I didn't know. I had to learn. I had to become someone who could hold that. So I would love you to ask yourself, where can I lean into responsibility more? How can I work into my body this comfort with having responsibility? When you have people you have to pay, when you have tons of clients on the roster for you to take care of, when you have told people this is what I'm going to deliver, it is more responsibility. Having more success is more responsibility. And if that's what you want, you have to train yourself to be someone who can show up, who can do the things you're going to say, who is reliable, first and foremost, to yourself, who can do the tangible things that it takes to take care of money, to take care of business. And I'm doing a lot of this work. I'm remembering a lot of this work right now as I'm scaling back up my business, because I had my Moss Girl sabbatical, y'all. I was not tracking my income. I was not being, I was like, I don't want to be responsible. I want to go play in the dirt. And that's what I did. And it was awesome. And it was what I needed. But now I'm scaling my business again. So I'm still playing in the dirt. Don't worry. But I'm also like, and I need to be doing these things to be responsible and be a steward of my business and to take care of my clients. And I know how to do that because I've done it before. But I had to train myself to do that. So just check in. Check in. Okay, we all know this. It's super proven. You all get around it. Mirror neurons. Be around successful people. Be around people doing the things you want to do. Come to classes like this. Get in containers. Listen to podcasts. Go to retreats. Get in masterminds. Be in the rooms that expand you. Be in the places that remind you of who you are and what you're here to do, and that you can believe in yourself and that you can believe in your path, and you freaking got it. How do you handle projections and or perceived expectations? Is part of it speaking to clients that are self-led? This is a sneaky belief for me around responsibility, not wanting to be responsible for other people. It's because I'm a mom and I don't want to mother others, even though it's such a natural thing for me, but definitely leads to leaky boundaries and people pleasing. So here's the thing. I would get more specific than self-led. I know that's a term that's used a lot. What does that actually mean for you? What does that actually mean for you? So for me, I speak to people, the clients who come into my space and the people who I speak to are really self-aware. They can bring forward what's coming up for them. But I also feel like my job as a coach and a mentor is not just to respond to the questions they have, but be like, there's something deeper here, or I'm seeing something you're not, or you haven't brought this forward yet, but I've seen on your Instagram you talking in this way, and we should talk about it because there's a blind spot happening. So I also really like to work with people who will let me do my job and look at your business and tell you your gaps and the things that you're missing. Um, I like to work with people who put in the work, who will like show up and implement. Um, you know, I work with people who really have this like resilience and knowing. And so they're not expecting me. And I put this on my sales page, I put this in my policies. Like, I'm not here to save you. I'm not here to give you all the answers. I'm not here to create a formula for you step by step, and then you're going to achieve this result. So I would get more specific than self-led. And I had to learn to do this because I was having clients come in who were like expecting me to kind of just like fix it and like do the things. Um and learn how to like speak to the kind of people I actually wanted to work with. So, yeah, what does that mean to you? Get more specific. That's what I would say. Okay. This one I thought was pretty cool. We all know about visualization. Why does this work though? Okay. And so visualization, again, working with people of differing like how your brain functions, this can be either like seeing imagery, like seeing the experience, but it doesn't have to be that. For some people, like seeing things happening in their mind's eye is challenging. So you can also just like feel the feelings in your body. Or you can write about it, or you can like script about it where you're like writing as if it's happening, or talk about it as if it's happening, all that kind of stuff. So why this works is that your brain has trouble, it can't really differentiate of actual success versus like imaginary success. So when you're doing this and kind of like make believing that you're already successful, your brain is like, okay, we're successful, okay. And you all may have heard that. Thank you. I wrote down the other day, self-aware shows up at work, etc. Great. And speak to those people, write content for those people. So you all may have heard that when the Bulls were like kicking butt, when this is the basketball team, when Michael Jordan, I almost said Michael Jackson. I was like, wait, wrong, Michael, was playing for them. And they were like winning, winning, winning. Their coach, before every single game, had them sit down for like 10 or 20 minutes and visualize them playing the game, like in detail and winning. And they were kicking butt. And like that, it literally, and if you visualize yourself, for instance, playing piano, you know, like doing a performance, going on to a class and doing an amazing job, having the success you want to have, it literally will train the same parts of yourself that are active when you're actually doing that thing and like actually receiving that thing. You'll have the same feelings. Your brain will start working with your body and being like, here are the things you actually need to do. You'll have more creative ideas. You'll feel more motivation. You'll have like different ideas that are gonna and opportunities open up to you. It's pretty amazing. One of the best launches I ever had, I was doing a lot of visualization, like twice a day around this container. And I had like a 70K launch or something like that. I set aside 5 weeks for it. It happened in 3 weeks. It was so easy. It was so fun. And since then, come here. I know, buddy. Come here. He's like, get off the phone. Come here. Come here. I'll pet you. Come here. Come here. Come here. Bless him. Okay. they did studies that show that ballet dancers' muscles fired in the same way they did when they imagined as when they dance. Exactly. Yeah, it's doing the same, it's literally doing the same thing as if you were doing it in real time. So it's not just some woo-woo technique, it literally works super well. Okay, this one I loved too. We all have heard the thing going around, Delulu is the Salulu. The placebo effect, it's real. If you believe something is going to work for you, it will. If you're taking a medicine, like, and it has literal impacts on your body. People who take a medicine who think that this is a medicine that's going to help them and it's not even a medicine have a tendency to get better. So I don't care what practice you do, you all. If you think it's going to work for you, if you're putting up a post and you're like, this is going to work for me, it most likely will, because like you have that power. If you're showing up, and it just makes sense. Like to me, it just like the world is reflecting back to you what you're putting out. When you're nice to people, they're going to be nice to you in return. Not 100% of the time, but like it's just going to come back, you know? So if you're showing up like writing, selling, interacting with money like you're a successful person, that's what's going to come back to you. The Lulu is the Salulu. I love that. And this is very similar, right? Like a self-fulfilling prophecy, or creating these like core beliefs. This is something I do a lot. I like to write down like what I believe about myself and what I believe about my reality and my experience. I innately believe, and I used to not believe this. I had to build this over time. But I believe that I am innately successful. I believe that with every core of my being. I believe that I am someone who understands, embodies, is meant for success. And I used to not believe that. I felt it like somewhere underneath me, maybe, but it's really strong in it. Like, I believe that I'm really good at what I do. I believe that I'm good with money. I believe that, and like part of this came from experience, but also these beliefs help shape that experience. Okay. And will help me see more and more evidence to support this and like strengthen these beliefs even more. Okay. So you get to create a prophecy for yourself and be like, this is who I am and this is what I'm stepping into. Okay. All right. The time frame. Okay, Melissa, when does this happen? I'm doing all the things. It's going to be different for everybody. It's going to be different for everybody based on your ancestral lineage, based on, you know, the physicality you're working with, or, you know, the capacity that you currently have, based on tangible things that are happening. Like for me, I had already built, you know, 40,000 followers before I ever started my business. That definitely helped me create more success more quickly. I already had this big history of like, I wrote this post a while ago that was like, if you're starting your healing journey, starting to grow your business, starting to learn about selling, starting to learn about money, starting to learn about space holding, all at the same time, do not compare yourself to someone who has already built a following, has had a decade of space holding, has had a decade or a couple decades of like holding space for themselves, like who has like family support, who has generational wealth. Like, so the timeline is going to be very different based on your starting point and what you're working with. But I mean, it's shown that meditation alone, you can start to feel the effects in 4 days. That's amazing. That's amazing. And I felt that when I started my meditation practice. I was like, what is this magic? Because y'all, I was anxious. I was an anxious girly, and like a lot. And like that was my life. And so it's worth it. And it's not about getting somewhere. It's about being devoted to the becoming and being devoted to that evolution over time and just keeping it going. Keeping it going. Okay, you all. What questions do you have? I'm also going to pull giveaway winners. So I'll do questions for a few minutes. Let me know if you have any questions, drop them in the chat box, and I'm going to pull up, while you're doing that, I'm going to pull up. My giveaway. My belly is grumbling, you all. I am hungry. Okay. Any questions? We good? All right, you all. I know I answered some questions along the way. How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? Yay, I don't have any questions, just looking forward to digesting this and so grateful. I'd love to know what's a takeaway for you. Oh my goodness. My screen is doing something weird. There we go. What is something that you're taking away? And I'm going to pull the giveaway list. Feeling great. Thank you for your passion. I love you all. I love you, Fallon. Great. Okay. Feeling grateful. This class is super resonant for me. Yay. I'm so happy to hear that. Okay. All right. I'm going to pull the giveaway winners now. So 3 winners are going to, oh my, oh, we got some questions. Okay. I feel like I'm starting again with my business in some way, maybe all the ways, and not really sure what I desire to offer. Any advice on this when you've gone through a death rebirth process? I would honestly, like, I think like sometimes when you go through that, it's a process of learning to trust yourself again and trust your guidance. For me, I felt so, when I went through that process last year, I wrote a post about this. It's the post of me like sitting on a mountain. You can go read it. I felt so confused. I thought about quitting, y'all. I was so just like, and my business was in a really good place before. I was just like struggling with like my personal life. Some shit was going down. Um, and I thought about quitting, and I like had to just like ask for guidance and be like, just show me, tell me, what am I meant to do? Like, and I know for me, something that's always helped me feel fulfilled is asking where I can be of most service. Like, what is going to, and I believe that service to myself and service to others is like the same thing. I'm not like a martyr. I believe that like the more I support others, the more I get to be supported as well. The more joy I give to others, the more joy that's going to come to me. Like, that's just my experience and my belief. So I really had to just like sit on that mountain and be like, what is my next step? And I've had other moments like that in my business where I felt so confused on what to do. And I just like prayed for, you know, insight and clarity into what was going to help the most people. And for me, it's come back to money work a lot of times, and like helping people find holistic, happy success and um, peace and happiness and empowerment when it comes to money in their business. And so that's what I would advise you to do is like pray on it in whatever way serves you, whatever way resonates with you. And then be like, okay, this feels really scary, but I'm going to trust myself and learn to trust myself. That's what empowerment is trusting yourself to be able to make actions and make decisions. So retraining that part of yourself that's decisive, that's trustworthy, and that trusts yourself and that can make moves. Thank you for sharing this with us. Definitely going to work on getting more into meditation to ease anxiety. Amazing. Yeah, it's so good. And breath work. Breath work is delicious too. Most of the discussion around capacity holding and building is a big takeaway for me. Great. Yeah. Yeah. If you all are interested in capacity building out and scaling, Scale is the spot for you. And it's $55 right now. It's literally going to be like a course, but over Telegram. I was actually going to teach it last year, and then I took my break, and it was going to be like a full ass course that was like, going to be like at least 10 times the price of what it is now. So that's a really awesome, going to be an awesome resource. Okay. Ride the waves, let yourself stumble forward until you fall in love with something new, and don't make yourself wrong for starting over. Yeah. Trust your decisiveness. Trust it. Trust yourself. Okay. I'm pulling winners. Okay. I have 3 winners. I'm seeing who's on the call. One of our winners is on the call. Ooh, I'm excited. Sarah, thank you. I have so many ideas that can get carried away or feel indecisive on what I desire to offer. Me too, Libra energy, you know, I do that. I have felt a desire to hold something around forgiveness in relation to money and abundance. Forgiveness has been a huge part of my medicine, something I've offered before, but have felt a lot of imposter syndrome around doing anything in relationship to money because money situation in ways the best it's been, in ways the worst. Yeah, that full spectrum. I believe in you. I believe in you. Okay, so my 3 winners. I'm going to name the 2 who aren't here on the call right now. And then I think not. Yeah. And then the one of you who is. So the first winner is Kieran, who's actually one of my existing clients. So I'll reach out to Kieran and let her know. Yay, Kieran. And then the second winner is Ashley Church, who entered a couple days ago. So we'll also reach out to Ashley. And then the third winner is Alexandra, lip singer, here on the call. Yay! Hey.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Thanks for, I know you just entered.
I know. I didn't even know about it.
My assistant just updated it. So yeah. Yay.
Hey, Ashley.
Yay. Yeah. Yeah, Ashley's awesome. Okay. All right. So those are our giveaway winners. Okay. So I am going to drop some links for you all if you are interested in continuing to work with me in a deeper capacity. I have some really exciting offers coming up. The first one, and they're all time sensitive. The first one is, I'm actually going to share my screen with you, is, and I'm going to copy and share. Okay. The first one is scale, and these are all going to be emailed out to you all as well. And let me find where I can share my screen. Maybe this, here it is. Scale. Okay. I literally, you all, this was like a decisive move for me. I had the idea literally 2 days ago and was like, all right, we're going to do an early bird for it. And we put together the sales page and I wrote some stuff. But I'm in a scaling zone and I have a lot of clients right now who either just took breaks or are coming back in. And so this is going to be a week-long broadcast where I'm going to be doing lessons on Telegram and talking to you all about these different aspects of scaling. So like who you have to become. We're going to be talking about offer refinement, offer suite building for scalability. And again, I don't do formulas, but I do a lot of like question asking. I talk about my experiences and my clients' experiences of things that I've seen that have worked. But also like have you all ask yourself questions to help you discern what's going to best serve you when it comes to building out these pieces. We're going to talk about sales, messaging, or I said messaging, operations, cleaning up the back end. There's going to be a lot around like responsibility and leadership, working with your support systems, outsourcing, receiving energy, capacity expansion, all these pieces, right? And there'll be more that comes up. So, because there always is. I always like start out being like, these are what I'm going to teach, and then have like a billion more ideas. So every day you're going to get lessons. You're also going to get implementation homework, and you're going to get a Q&A session on Zoom. This is $55 right now. It's at least going to be $155 when I'm doing the full launch of it. So I'm doing this like super early bird. So that is option one. Option two is become success. Ooh, look at this branding, you all. I love it. Okay, anyway, this used to be called identity. I just changed the name because it's so much more than identity. This is really about like I'm taking you all through practices. This is about integrating and like stepping into, like truly stepping into like the most successful version of you, and you being someone who like it is so natural for you to have success in your life. So this is really good for if you feel that back and forth energy and you want to feel more trust in yourself, decisiveness, confidence, empowerment, clarity, all of these delicious things, worthiness. If you're someone who's already created a lot of success and you have trouble feeling it and letting it in and receiving it and resting into it, this is going to be awesome for you. Or if you like haven't quite gotten yourself off the ground yet, and you know that if you anchored in more like mitigating self-sabotage, more of that confidence, more clarity, all of these pieces, that would help serve you and help you take off. This is going to be for you. It's a month long. You get access to some recorded practices and classes that I did from the last round. And then this round, I'm going to be taking you through new practices, new concepts, new homework. There's going to be a Telegram community for like integration. I love community and people having conversations and mirroring each other. So you're going to learn all these things. You can read about it on the sales page. And this is what I feel like when you become success, nothing can ever take away that from you. That was something I really learned this year, because like this last year was so hard for me. Uh-oh, my computer's telling me it's going to die, which means I need to plug it in. And I was like, I am so glad that I've done so much inner work around success, because like I can literally have my world freaking rocked and like show up like a badass because like I've so ingrained it into my system and into my body. So here are the dates for the live calls. We start March 6th. I'm super excited. Become Success is $444 or two payments of $235. There's an early bird. Okay. That price is not going to change. That price is going to stay, but there is an early bird bonus. If you want to do Become Success and you sign up by Saturday at midnight, you will get a Voxer week with me. So where you come in, we have a private Voxer container. You're asking me questions. You're sending me voice messages. It's 4 days. I do Voxer Tuesday through Friday. And get some coaching. Get some coaching. Okay. So that early bird ends on Friday. It's like when they talk about millionaires losing it all and then making it back again with less time. Exactly. Because it's like when you got it, you got it. When it's in there, it's in there. Okay. So that's the second option. The third option is a bundle of Wealthy, which is always open, always running. It's lifetime access. This is Wealthy. This is Wealthy. I love this container, you all. This is my core offering. This is, if you were to tell me you have one option to teach, it would be Wealthy. The sales page is very extensive. The intention of this is a healthy, delicious, empowered, trusting relationship with money. There's so much that goes into it. I love the nuance. I love the intricacies. I love the community in there. I've been working with people in this container for years, and people keep coming back, and we have amazing results. You can read about people's experiences. People have shared videos of their experiences. Ashley here is amazing. She's someone who like came in and she just like cleared so much and did so much. It's honestly amazing. But there's a huge back-end portal of practices and classes. I mean, huge. And so you can always be tapping into things. And then we have live calls every single month that are a practice-based call where we do a practice, and then we do implementation time together where you're going and you're doing the tangible money things. Like we sit there and you do the things you've been avoiding, and it's awesome. And 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 then we have a masterminding call where you come and you get coaching and I get to know you and get to support you. The community is amazing. I'm so proud of it. I've been making it for years. This is a podcast episode that really breaks down my methodology and how like I relate to money and what we do in Wealthy. The bundle option is so we also do tiered pricing. This is something I implemented a couple months ago because I wanted to have, like, in money work, I believe that people are starting from different places based on like systemic real things. So I wanted to create different offerings, and I've offered scholarships, partial scholarships for a while. And so I just wanted to build that in and have a, like, you choose what works for you. So we have it laid out, like how you can kind of decide which option. But the bundle is if you go to one of these options, and you'll see Become Success is half off. If you join Wealthy, Become Success is half off. The early bird for this is, and there's a 12-month payment plan as well, by the way. The early bird for this is if you join Wealthy and Become Success by Saturday, you get that 1 week of Voxer coaching, but you also get a one-on-one call with me, a 60-minute one-on-one call. Okay. So that's the early bird for that. And then the last option, which I don't have a sales page for, is I have a mastermind, a 2-month mastermind called Expand Mastermind, starting in April. Yeah, I was like, wait, starting in April. That is for those who are wanting to come in and get personalized coaching and be in an intimate space of those who are scaling their business. This is for people who are devoted to their business, who are super service oriented, who absolutely love what they do and want my eyes on your business, filling in your gaps, helping you get really clear, helping you with all of these things that I talked about in scale, but on a more personal level. Okay. So you get a one-on-one call with me. It's a full energetic and full structural and strategy audit of your business to kick off. And then we have 8 masterminding calls together. You have Voxer support. You also get access to Become Success. That is $3,333. That price will probably go up in maybe a month. I'm grabbing my notebook because I wrote something down. Oh yeah, and then it's early bird is if you join by Oh, and there's a payment plan as well. Right now it's a 3-month payment plan, so that can be spread out over 3 months, and that will drop down to 2 months before the container begins. If you join by Saturday, then you get an extra one-on-one call with me that you can take whenever. And the Voxer week, you get that as well. Okay. So there's a lot of things happening. So that's 4 different offers. These will all be emailed out for you. If you have questions, come to my DMs. If you have questions, if you're interested in the mastermind, you have to go through me first because I want to talk to everyone who joins. You have to ask me to get to the link. I want to get to know you before you join because I really want to make sure that that space will really serve you. And yeah, those are the things that are happening. So you're going to get an email with a replay. You're going to get an email with the offer breakdowns. And I'm here. And if you have any questions, or if you want to go deeper, or if you want to tune into my podcast or my other free resources or whatever, reach out. And I thank you all for being here. I love getting to do this work. It makes me super freaking happy. I literally go into dreamland, and now I'm going to go walk my dog. So I hope you all have a great day. I will talk to you soon. I'll see you on Instagram. And whether you're here live or watching the recording, thank you so much. Okay. Bye. And Alexandra, reach out to me and we can talk about how and when you want to cash in. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.